Hi and welcome to Where Waji's YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this simple off-shoulder wrap dress with puff sleeve. It is really easy. Let's get straight to it. So I'll be making use of this African print fabric, Ankara fabric, and I'll be folding it into two just like you see me do, using the highest body measurement of the person. For me, it is my hip, so I'm just checking that I folded and added about 1 inch or 1.5 for ease, okay, and then 1 inch for seam allowance. Please note that we are cutting the back piece of this dress first, so I started off by ruling a starting line horizontally at the top. Then on the starting line, go up with your tape measure by 6 inches, meaning that I placed my tape measure at 6 inches on the starting line. I went on to mark my vertical measurement starting from my armhole line, my bust point, my under bust point, my waistline. I would even mark my hip line and then the length of my dress. Don't forget to add your hemming allowance. So just like you see me do, place 6 inches on the starting line. This means that you've taken away 6 inches from all your vertical measurements because it's an off-shoulder dress, which will still be added to the sleeve. And then you mark your vertical measurements. This is me marking 9 inches from my waistline to get my hip line. Okay, to form our off-shoulder, we'll go to the top part of this pattern from the center part and mark 4.5 inches inward. Okay, this 4.5 inches is suitable for persons whose shoulder measurement is no wider than 16 inches. Okay, and then I would mark on the armhole line that we marked earlier the bust measurement, and then include 1.5 inches for ease. After this, I'll move on to the waist line, and then I'll be marking my waist measurement, my round waist measurement divided by 4. After marking this, I'll repeat the same measurement on my under bust line, and then I'll also include my 1.5 inches for ease there. This is me marking my hip measurement on my hip line divided by 4 and include 1.5 inches for ease. I'll take out 1 inch from the total measurement on my hip line and then mark that on the hem line. Then I'll go on to join the lines together from the bust measurement to the waistline to the hip line and down to the hem line. Please do not forget to add your hemming allowance. Now I'll be using my curve rule to just connect the 4 inches I marked inwards to the bust measurement. Okay, just like you're forming your armhole curve. Okay, so just make that curve up there before you go on to cut. Please do not forget to leave about 1 inch above your starting line. Okay, this is to hem the upper part of your dress when you're not turning it with your yoke or a facing. Okay, after cutting, this is what the back piece of the dress should look like. So easy and pretty. For the front piece of this dress, I'm going to fold in the African print fabric into two, just like we did for the back part, just that the front piece should be about 7 to 10 inches wider than the back piece, and I'm going to place the back piece on it like you see me do. Please ensure that the center of the back piece, that is this folded area, is what is facing the wider part of that folded fabric. Okay, and then both edge meet. After doing this, go on to throw up your 6 inches like we did earlier at the back pattern. Throw up 6 inches and then mark your armhole line, your bust point, your waistline, your hip line, and then the length of the dress, and of course your hemming allowance at the lower part. After marking out these lines, we'll go on to create a neckline for the front piece by simply raising the back piece and then form a curve to the bust point line that is visible there. Okay, you can use your curve rule for this, or you can use freehand and create any neckline you want. There's a tutorial on how to make different necklines, about 13 trendy necklines. The link to this tutorial is in my description box. So go on to connect this curve line to the bust point and down to the waistline. Then go down to the lower part of this dress and come out by about 4 to 5 inches and draw a line like you see me do with your freehand or with your curve rule up to the waistline. You are creating the wrap effect that way, okay? And then it is almost time to cut. I'm just ensuring that my lines are okay. Now you can cut out, but when you get to the waistline area, please make notches or openings at the waistline and then 2 inches above the waistline. This will give room for the belt of the wrap dress to pass through before you cut out completely. Now when you get to the neck area, please remove the back piece before you cut out, okay? Now after cutting out, I'm just going to open this up so that we can see what the front piece looks like. Remember, because it cuts both sides, the front piece will end up having 2 pieces, okay? So this is the back piece, and then I'm going to just arrange the front piece. This is what the front piece would look like, okay? So the next thing I did here is to get the exact measurement of the armhole here. This will aid my sleeve cutting. And then to begin sewing, I would go on to hem or tape the center part of my front piece. That's, I'll just fold it so that the edges are not rough. I'll do this for the 2 pieces and also the top of the back piece. Then after that, I'll sew the edges using the side seam, okay? Now for the sleeve, I'm just going to form the puff sleeve using this remaining fabric. I'm folding it into 4 so I can cut the 2 sleeves together, okay? Because it's a puff sleeve, so I need a lot of allowance at the lower part and then at the upper part, because I'm going to use elastic to reduce the fullness at the top and the bottom of the sleeve. So here I marked about 11 inches, and then the measurement I took of the armhole area, it's about 7 inches. So I added half an inch, and I'm just going to connect the lines like so using my free hand. So this is all about this puff sleeve I'm creating, because I want the fullness, so I'm not making any fitting or making it slim, okay? I'm just trimming off the excesses and opening up this sleeve. So after cutting out, our 2 sleeve is good to go. Yeah, this is what it should look like. So while sewing, you're going to hem the upper part and the lower part, ensuring that a small piece, that is the ½ inch elastic, can go in through, so that when you drag, it will have that puff effect. So what I'm doing here is just creating a curve at the lower part of this sleeve so that it has a little bit of puff at that part, okay? Now for the belt for the dress I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using this fabric. You can use any size of your choice and sew it down. This is about 5 inches. Now I've gone on to hem or tape the center part of the front piece of this fabric. You can see it is looking neat already. I did this for the 2 sides of the front piece of this dress. Yeah, and I also hemmed the top part of the back piece. That's why I said you should leave about 1 inch. So you fold it once and fold it twice and stitch, okay? So now the next thing we are going to do is to join the 2 sides together. Now how you do this is by ensuring that the 2 sides, that is the front piece and the back piece, aligns. When it aligns, you're going to sew down using the allowance you left earlier. If you want ease, you can just make use of ½ inch while sewing, or you can make use of 1 inch depending on how free you want the dress to be. So I'm going to sew down, but when I get to where we notched earlier, that 2 inches where I said you leave a space on the waistline and 2 inches above the waistline, you leave that part open just on one area, your right hand side, so that will accommodate the belt, okay? Now I've gone on to sew the belt, and I turned it in after sewing and gave it a good press, and this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to fold it into 2 and cut so that it can go for the 2 sides of the front piece, okay? So now after cutting it open, I'm just going to attach one part of this belt on one piece of the dress. Please, if you're getting confused, just watch what you see me do. Yeah, because I don't want rough edges. I'm just tucking in the rough edge of the belt. Okay, I just tucked it in, creating a hole there, and then I'm going to place the edge of the front piece inside, and then I'm going to top stitch. That way there will not be any rough edges outside. Okay, so after top stitching, I'll sew the sides and show you what it looks like. Okay, for the sleeve, I've gone on to tape or hem the lower part of this sleeve. So I'm just going to show you how I did that, because we'll be doing the same thing to the upper part by simply turning it. Okay, I'm just going to fold using about 1 inch or 1.5 inches depending on you, and then I'm going to fold it again. Okay, I'm just trying to create casing for the elastic. Basically, I'm just trying to create casing, so anything you do, ensure that your elastic can go through that space, because we are creating a simple puff sleeve. After doing that, I'm going to sew the sides like so. Now this is what the dress looks like after joining the two sides together and attaching the belts. Okay, so beautiful and neat already. Do not forget to leave the opening at the right side of the waistline. Okay, now we're almost done. The remaining thing is to fix our sleeve and hem the lower part of this dress, and then we are good to go. To hem the lower part is quite simple. Just fold twice like you see me do, and do that all around this dress. Okay, now before we go on to hem the lower part and fix the sleeve, let me show you quickly how the belt will go into the space we left at the right side of this dress. Yes, one belt will go into that hole like this, so you have to make a hole that is big enough to accommodate your belt, or make a tiny belt, and then the other belt will be outside like so. Yes, and then that is that. Now for the sleeve, you have gone on to hem the upper part and the lower part of the sleeve by just folding it twice and creating casing for the elastic to go through. So this is what it looks like. So what we are going to do is to take your elastic. I'm using this 1/2 inch elastic, and I'm going to make use of this safety pin to pass it through the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going on to fix the safety pin and pass it through just like you see me do, round to the other side. After doing that, I'm going to repeat the process on the upper part of the sleeve, and at the end it forms a puff, and then I'll join the sides and attach it to the dress, and after that our dress will be good to go. So yeah, this is the sleeve. I've joined the sides together and I've passed the elastic round. Let me just turn it inside out so that you can see. So I use the measurement of my round sleeve to determine how wide it should be. Okay, and then this is the armhole that should rhyme with the measurement of the armhole on the dress. So what you're going to do now is to turn it to the right side and then place it on your dress. It is quite simple. So these are the two sleeves, and then you can see that I stitched the both sides of the elastic to hold it down, and then the down part of the sleeve is already looking puff. So now to attach it to your dress, place the sleeve right side facing the right side of the dress, and ensure that the two lines, that is the sewing lines, match, and then sew one end like so, hold it down and sew one end to the other end, and sew the other one like so. It is quite easy, and after that your puff sleeve is attached. I'm going to sew it, and then at the end of the day I would tape the lower part of this dress, try it on, and show you what this beautiful off shoulder wrap dress looks like. Thank you so much for watching. Here's the final result. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. See you in my next video. Bye bye.